All right, I have 301. I will call to order the emergency meeting of the Galveston County Commissioners. I'll start by addressing some concerns that the meeting did not meet the standard for an emergency meeting. So I'll start by saying that our county legal made that determination, not myself or any member of the Commissioners Court. And they found that to be the case under the second paragraph of the notice, that the emergency or urgent public necessity component of the unlawful restraint of the authority of the Commissioners Court due to the ex parte order issued by the local administrative judge, in which the local administrative judge unilaterally and without authority declares actions of the Commissioners Court void and purports to restrain the Commissioners Court in the lawful exercise of the Commissioners Court authority, and immediate action is required due to this emergency or urgent public necessity, which was reasonably unforeseeable in this situation. So the meeting is open. Our first item would be an executive session. I'm going to suggest to members of the Commissioners Court that we skip the executive session and have our comments made in public. Any objections? No objection. All right, that brings us to item 1D, consideration of authorizing filing mandamus action against Honorable Lonnie Cox, presiding judge of the 56th Judicial Court of Galveston County, Texas, and local administrative judge, and wherein such authority to undertake litigation shall include any other litigation that may be necessary and against those parties necessary to restrain the interference of the Commissioners Court in the lawful exercise of Commissioners Court authority. So moved. I have a motion by Commissioner O'Brien. Second. And a second by Commissioner Clark. Discussion?
Yes, Judge, I have some comments on this issue. I think that we ought to vote to authorize a filing of mandamus action in this case in order to protect what was a lawful exercise of management authority on behalf of Commissioners Court. As you know, the Justice Administration Department is a back-end function department that provides support for various departments, including not just the courts, such as our county courts and our justice courts, but also our county clerk, our district attorney's office, even the jail. In essence, it serves as a point of coordination to help improve the efficiency of the operations of these various departments that participate in our justice system where they come together. And the analogy that I like to use for the department is a wheel. These various departments, from the DA to the jail to the courts, are like spokes in the wheel, and they come together at a hub, and that hub is Justice Administration. And it doesn't serve any one particular department. Rather, its job is to help improve the coordination of those various departments where they come together. And that's why, as we scheduled interviews to take place yesterday, the district attorney was scheduled to participate in the interviews for the new Justice Administration Director. Our county clerk, our district clerk, some of the incoming judges were all scheduled to participate because we value their advice and their participation in the process, since they're all affected by how this department works. This is really no different in my mind than our IT department or our HR department. Human Resources provides back-end support functions for the various departments of county government, but it doesn't work for any one individual department, but it reports to Commissioners Court. Similarly, our Information Technology Department supports a lot of departments, including our courts, but it reports to Commissioners Court. By having a good functioning IT department or HR department, it improves the way all of our departments, including those that report to other elected officials, function. The same is true with respect to Justice Administration. My concern, Judge, is that the order issued by Judge Cox yesterday on this issue is a good example of creative writing, but it's not a very good example of legal writing. Because the position at issue is the position of Justice Administration Department Director. And as this issue has come to a head over the last few days, the judge of the 56th District Court has repeatedly referred to this position as being a, quote, court administrator, which it is not. And I would particularly call attention to this point by those who are in the media covering this issue, because Judge Cox has a court coordinator. Her name is Kay Henson. That is the position that he hires and supervises, as y'all know. And I certainly wouldn't deign to interfere with his selection or management of his court administrator or his court coordinator position. And I'm sure no other member of Commissioners Court would either. But this department that we are dealing with is a Commissioners Court department head. We could probably be here for an hour and not repeat ourselves and list lots of examples to support that rather straightforward fact. But I will offer just a handful. First, Judge Cox has personally told me on multiple occasions that this is a Commissioners Court department that reports to Commissioners Court. In November 2012, before I even took office, Judge Cox told me that while Commissioners Court could terminate the Justice Administration Director, I should take time to form my own opinion before taking any action on that subject. Then, after Ms. Quiroga left the county's employment in July of this year, I met with Judge Cox personally on August 23rd. In that meeting, Judge Cox told me again that while he disagreed with the decision to change Justice Administration Directors, you, County Judge Mark Henry, had the authority to make that decision. So Judge Cox's order yesterday is contradicted by his own statements to me over the last 2 years. Second, a job description for the position of Justice Administration Director from 2005, which I brought with me today, says that the position reports to the county judge. That job description, which is signed by Ms. Quiroga, says that this is an accurate description of her job duties. And at the top of the first page, it says, reports to county judge. I believe that's you, Judge. Third, as we recently revised the job description for the position as we posted it to refill it, Judge Lonnie Cox communicated with the county's Chief Human Resource Officer, Perry Bloomer, and with me personally, repeatedly, about the job description. In the draft of the revised job description for the position, it had initially been written loosely to say that the position took its assignments from the judge. Judge Lonnie Cox asked that the word county be inserted before judge, and so it was. The description was clarified to state that the work for the position was assigned by the county judge. Again, I believe that's you, Judge Henry. And that change was made to the posted job description at the request of Judge Lonnie Cox. When that red line change was made, it was circulated to Judge Cox and to me. And I had further conversations with the judge about it. I personally made additional changes to the job description in order to further clarify it. I took those changes and I emailed those changes, a red line version of the job description, which I brought with me today again, on August the 11th to Judge Cox. He responded to me via email the next day on August the 12th, replying that the description was much closer to being accurate. And again, that description contained a statement that the position took direction from the county judge. When I met in person with Judge Cox on August the 23rd, I brought the revised job description with me and again asked him if we should make further changes to the job description to increase in its accuracy. He replied no, that wasn't necessary, that it was now satisfactory with the changes that had been made. In the meetings that Judge Cox had with our Human Resources Department, he reportedly told the head of our county's Human Resources Department that the judges were not the supervisors of the Justice Administration Director. Rather, they were customers of the department. On August the 7th of this year, I attended a meeting of the district judges. At that meeting, District Judge Jan Yarborough acknowledged that the position reported to Commissioners Court. She said, quote, obviously, that employee is his appointee, referring to Judge Henry. Later in the meeting, she said, quote, I don't really care why you fired her or why you didn't. That clearly is within the parameters that Judge Henry has, and I'm okay with that. Judge Cox and the other district judges were at that meeting. Judge Henry was present. None of the district judges, including Judge Cox, disagreed with those statements. The video of that meeting is available on the county website. No one disagreed with the position that this department reports to Commissioners Court because, as you know, it does. This is not a statutory position. This is a department head position that was created by an order of Commissioners Court in 1995. And that order says the department serves more than just the district courts. Ms. Quiroga was appointed to that position in 2000 by Commissioners Court, not a district judge. It was a split vote of Commissioners Court. I believe you were on the court at the time, Commissioner Clark. And it appeared from the records in the minutes that there was some haggling over the details of that. And there was some back and forth voting, and ultimately she was appointed out on a 3-2 vote of Commissioners Court. Finally, the county budget sometimes, but not always, contains a county organizational chart. Some years it does, some years it doesn't. But if you look back to 2004, a budget that was adopted in August of 2003 for the fiscal year 2004 budget, 11 years ago, you will find an organizational chart, which I brought with me today, that shows the Justice Administration Department reporting to Commissioners Court. Similarly, an org chart was included in the 2009 fiscal year budget, which is, or 2010 fiscal year budget, which was adopted in 2009. Again, Justice Administration Department was shown reporting to Commissioners Court. And finally, last year, the current fiscal year budget adopted last year includes an organizational chart. Again, showing Justice Administration reporting to Commissioners Court. There are plenty of other examples, and as I said, we could probably spend an hour reciting them all. But the bottom line is, it is unfortunate that we're going to have to spend time and taxpayers' money to respond to this factually baseless judicial fiat. But it is necessary, and therefore I will support it.
Further discussion?
Yes, I would just like to say that I've been on the court a fair amount of time. Actually, I think I've been on the court about 2 to 3 months longer than Commissioner Holmes has been. And he's not here today because he's out of state. But the conversation that I had with him yesterday via the phone, he basically shared with me that he thought it was our jurisdiction to be able to hire and fire this position. So he would be in agreement with, most likely, with the action that we're taking today, as I understood it yesterday. And no one has ever suggested that this position did not report to Commissioners Court. I too have personally had conversations over the last 3 years with Judge Cox talking about this position. He never once raised the issue of whether we had jurisdiction over this position. So I find it a little disheartening at this point that he's raising this issue. This is a Commissioner's Court position, and the order yesterday was rash and reckless, and we need to have the Court of Appeals decide this so we can move on and give up the business.
Yeah, I will just add, with only a few minutes looking, I was able to find dozens, and I'm sure I can find hundreds if I go back 4 years, of this position asking me for time off, asking me for direction when she had a problem, asking me, in fact, one time that she's having a problem with a judge, and she said, what do I do? If this position reported to the administrative judge, I'd naturally assume she would have gone there, but I don't believe that she believed that she worked for anyone other than Commissioner's Court.
That's correct.
And also, I agree with the court 100%. I believe that she reports to the court. And I also feel like our process has been interfered with to stop us from doing our job. We've taken on many tasks, which we've been very successful in saving the taxpayers millions of dollars. And that is our intention, just to do a good job. And that's what we're trying to do, and I think we're being interfered with.
Certainly would agree with that, and at least one candidate that we had lined up for interviews yesterday was very unhappy about the last-minute cancellation, which is just out of our control. I mean, although I don't think it was a proper use of power, because our legal department, within just a few minutes, found in El Paso Commissioners Court, in which a district judge made a very similar unilateral action, and the Court of Appeals said you can't do that. So I suspect we'll have the same outcome here when we go forward for mandamus action. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes 4-0. We're out at 3:15.
Good job, Judge.
Good, how are you doing?
Very, very